특이한 의상을 입기도 했었고 또 그랬던 이유가 왜냐면 저희는 쿠타이거즈니까 쿠타이거즈를 봐달라는 식의 약간 애교 같은 것이기도 했거든요.
What the hell am I looking at? That is a bunch of cat ears, or I don't know what's going on. We're going to like Hello Kitty school. I'm totally.
좀 자기 기량을 좀 펼칠 수 있는, 그런 분위기가 있는 팀인 것 같아요. 실수해도 뭐 잘 다독여주고 이제 기죽지 않게 자기 플레이 잘 할 수 있게 좀 그렇게 해주는 분위기인 것 같아요.
모든 팀들 간에 저는 팀원들 사이에 일단 친하다는 그 친근감이 제일 중요하다고 생각을 하기 때문에 일단 아무리 성적이 안 좋아도 그 팀원들끼리 으쌰으쌰하는 분위기만 있으면 저희는 항상 올라갈 수 있다고 생각하기 때문에 저는 그래도 가장 제일 중요한 게 팀워크가 아닌가 생각하고 있어요.
Welcome back, everyone. Taking to the stage are Korea's KOO Tigers and North America's Counterlogic Gaming. So let's take a closer look at the matchup. Now, Doublelift is a person who has been doing some serious work for CLG so far at Worlds, and if KOO are going to win here, they'll have to find a way to keep him down.
Most definitely. I think KOO's strategy coming into this should be probably banning the Tristana, maybe even banning the Jinx, pick up the Lulu if CLG lets it through, because I think that is why CLG has been winning most of the games.
You know, in the first two games that we've seen from both these guys, KOO has been very strong early, not so much in the later, struggling in some late-game team fights, dropping that game to the Flash Wolves. And CLG, on the other hand, has been very strong in the late game, taking a lot of decisive wins, knowing how to close out games, but very predictable early on. Admit these patterns of helping Zion are huge. And without Zion grouping in for the mid lane, the whole five-man push strat of CLG may not work.
Yeah, and they keep seeming to go for fast tower-pushing AD carries. We saw Jinx, Tristana up there, but that's why they help Zion Spartan in the top, because Doublelift doesn't need help in bottom. He's going to take that turret over time, and then eventually he's just going to transition that to mid, which yesterday I was saying is a big strength of North American teams, is we transition our bot lane to mid faster than almost any other region.
Now, part of the way that KOO Tigers lost yesterday was some focus by AHQ in the bot lane, turning around a couple fights and really getting things kick-started with the turret push in that lane.
Yeah, I think KOO need to cover their bottom lane here because that's a lot of the strength that comes out from CLG. Yesterday versus the Flash Wolves, they were flashed on by Sword Art, a lot of engages, and you saw them playing really far up. I want to see Prey pick something like a Corki. He's extraordinarily good at this champion. I want to see him pick that for some early presence so that he can really shove in the bot lane, deny the tower that they want to eventually get if it's not a lane swap in a 2-on-2. So that's what I want to see coming out here. Cover your bot lane, KOO.
All right, well, what do you guys think? Does CLG stay in front of this group, or does KOO bring it back?
The comp that Flash Wolves ran yesterday, a poke comp, is very similar to the way a siege comp operates. So for me, for that reason, I think that CLG is going to be able to take it.
All right, Zyrene?
I agree. I'm going to go with CLG here. We're apple pie right now,
West is best, baby.
Hey. Usually when you bet on the West, we're coming up on top, so we're going to keep that trend up.
As of now, the trend sticks. Yamato.
I guess I'll be the party pooper, and it's like, I think KOO is going to take it simply because I feel CLG's wins have been good, but it's kind of obvious to what their strengths are, and I think the Jinx Tristana ban is going to come in.
I got some news for you. It doesn't matter how big of a party pooper you are. If we party hard enough,
that's right. We can turn things around, NA boys. Well, as we send it over to the guys in the caster booth for champs, like Zion Spartan has been doing his homework on the KOO Tigers and sees a few openings to take them down.
Going into our next game against KOO, especially after watching them against UA Flash Wolves, I'm even more confident than I was before that we can beat them, and they don't look as strong as I thought they were. I'm definitely not going to underestimate them, as they're the second Korean seed and they're still a really strong team, but they have a lot of flaws from what I saw in their gameplay, and I think we can definitely exploit them and come out on top as a better team.
Hey guys, welcome back to the caster desk. I'm actually worried after the interview because every time we come to a game where they say, you know, they're not that good, but we won't underestimate them, that team ends up losing. So if we're going to have underdog stories, CLG should look out for this one. But guys, real quick, we're going to check out the starting rosters for this game. We're going to start with Korea's #2 seed, the KOO Tigers. And up the top lane is Smeb. In the jungle is Hojin, formerly known as Lee. Mid laner, Kuro, great Victor player. AD carry Prey has been to the World Championships before. He's back now. Gorilla was there last year. He's on support. And the coach Nofe behind them.
Yeah, they're obviously going up against CLG. A very confident CLG here today. They're playing on the red side, top lane. Confident man himself there. Zion Spartan. Jungler Smithy has his visa this time, so he's here to play Pobelter in the mid lane. AD carry will be Doublelift, and of course, the support. Can't forget him, the man in the rock, Aframu. All that under the Hawkeye of Zixlow. He should be able to guide them into champ select. And so far, CLG have had good drafts, but they've kind of made it easy for them to draft around. Very easy compositions to draft and play around, but so far their play has been stellar.
Somewhat the same we saw from C9. A lot of focus on these early tower pushing AD carries. Jinx and Tristana for Doublelift. The big pick for me, though, has been Lulu. Poor Builder got it twice now, first pick. The guy didn't die on it at all in 2 games. It's a 30 KDA, and it buffs up Doublelift in the late game and makes him that big, massive AD carry. So they protect the Doublelift composition that needs to get shut down from the KOO Tigers in this pick and ban phase. Either you ban Lulu or you first pick it.
I'm actually going to take that back. Their play hasn't been stellar. The highlights have been stellar, but so far and in between have been some sloppy plays, especially if Lulu goes out of the equation. There's a lot of Band-Aid power that you lose. Lulu makes up for a lot of misplays and turns around into good plays, but CLG plays the way they do. Without that champion, they may actually get into trouble.
And if CLG does ban Mordekaiser as the last one, which we normally see with these top-tier picks, then Lulu should be the first pick for KOO Tigers. But CLG should know that. And then they can look, okay, what value can we get? Elise could come in as a jungler. So that's why we often see KOO Tigers then ban it now. To say, okay, we want to set up for Lulu first pick, but we don't want to give you an Elise.
Wow.
Or you can do the other way around for them in this case.
All right, well, CLG, their last ban should probably be Mordekaiser. If you're talking about ways to counteract the CLG style of hard-pushing bot lane transitioning, facing a Mordekaiser makes that difficult. That said, though, Double and Aframu, their big strength is their ability to kill someone in lane. Nah. Not going to be there.
No, you have to ban the Mordekaiser because CLG as a team funnels the most farm from 50 to 30 into their AD carry. If you can get that Ghost, you just get even stronger than a normal Mordekaiser game.
So CLG will get the Elise pick. KOO Tigers valued Rek'Sai above it. That surprises me quite a lot, especially because Xmithy, in my opinion, has been on point when it comes to landing cocoons in the late game. And it's something CLG use a lot when they are sieging on these towers, which has been what they've been doing so well. Fast push towers. Elise is then one of my favorite junglers. First of all, she has range options. And second, that cocoon, when you're stuck on a tower defending, often means you get chunked and then you're back to base. So CLG get the perfect setup for them with this. And Rek'Sai as well doesn't offer any hard engage.
We do talk a lot about tempo, momentum, and the benefit of a Rek'Sai pick is that she has almost no downtime. She's always ready to defend her own jungle. It will be harder this time for Smithy and Aframu to get deep vision in because you will always find Rek'Sai in her jungle able to defend there. So maybe that's the style KOO Tigers gonna do so they can comfortably get to that mid to late game where they really shine. And if you want to patch up the holes in their early game with a very low resource jungle that can always go back into the jungle with her ultimate.
And they really put such a high priority on that one pick because they banned Lulu themselves to say, hey, we want you to ban Mordekaiser. So we don't have any of these picks available and we can take that Rek'Sai. Didn't want to risk having to choose between the first jungle pick or Lulu pick because obviously don't want to go that to CLG. So what they're going to do with this Rek'Sai is going to be very, very key in this game. And this bottom lane is something that has been working really well for KOO Tigers before.
Yeah, I like supplementing Ashe, who is relatively weak once he gets engaged upon, with just a very aggressive zoning support like Kennen. It's incredibly hard to even get to the Ashe. The double poke from Shurikens, follow up from Kennen W, volley from Ashe is incredibly hard to lane against.
And it seems like a setup for a Malphite top lane. This is like the style that kind of got KOO Tigers back into the fold here is like these hard engaged teams. Praise arrows are super good, but Smeb being able to start fights out and even Gorilla on that Kennen being able to help as well. This could be really important things for KOO here.
A lot of things to like about this bottom lane. First of all, one of the big changes KOO Tigers made during this season was keep Gorilla in the 2v2 lane with the Ashe. Blitzcrank coming in though from CLG, but anyway, one of the big changes they made was Gorilla would lane with Prey and it made them very strong 2v2, so with the Kennen. And also, it means you can match the CLG strongest part on the map, which is the bottom lane, with this super strong early dual lane.
I mean, if you can't get to the Ashe, just bring her to you. If Aframu lands any hooks here on Prey, it's going to be absolutely disgusting the amount of damage coming out of that combination from Blitzcrank Tristana. If they get pushed though, and KOO Tigers can aggressively dodge some hooks, they can whack away at the tower from CLG very quickly. There's almost no counter trade potential because Blitzcrank very melee oriented, double range, double poke in that bot lane, so heavy skill matchup.
But here's the thing, look at these hovers from KOO Tigers there. That Kennen can go to the top lane for Smeb, and Gorilla can play Morgana and just play guess the hook target, put a black shield on and ignore all of it here. KOO Tigers look to be looking at this as their actual lineup there. The Victor gets locked in, and yep, Morgana support. Kennen goes top lane.
Always the value of having these flex picks. There are a few of them left still. Kennen is one of them for a lot of the teams. So yeah, swapping that on the other side will be a little bit annoying for Afremu, but then again, you give a fairly simple lane then for Tristana, or you can just lane swap it and have the roaming Blitzcrank.
Yeah, but they sacrifice a lot though. Putting that Kennen top lane, I'm very much so more of a fan of Kennen support. Kennen top lane is hard to judge because we don't really see it that very often, but KOO Tiger's only running a single tank that actually tunnels into the fight, so their backline going to be very exposed in these fights, so we'll need some really good ultimates here from Smeb on that Kennen later on to really zone in these team fights, but it is possible.
And Prey is going to be basically the single engage on this Ashe here against CLG. It's one of the reasons, again, they pick it, because they know CLG likes to group and siege like Cloud9 does, so you need to pack some hard engage on your side, but the arrow, again, late game, it always becomes tricky when QSS is in the game. Maybe someone runs cleanse. I expect that from the Azir in the mid lane. It's one of the things Ashe always does. She forces cleanse on your mid laner, so that's there for late game at least.
Two complete opposite styles here. Olaf rounds up the CLG composition, and KOO Tigers, don't be mistaken, they have a lot of poke hidden in that lineup. Kennen can throw out shurikens. You have Victor with E, even Q if he gets close enough. Ashe volleys, Morgana bindings to hold them all in place to make those spells hit. So CLG, when defending towers, even if slightly behind, will have a hard time, so they have to rely on really good hooks or just Zion Spartan rushing in.
I just really worry about KOO Tigers and how they're going to play the team fight, because it's going to be the Ashe arrow in as the main engage, and then you have to have flash up on the cannon if you want to reach doublelift in the backline. Otherwise, the scaling of an Azir and a Tristana versus low backline threat is so hard. I mean, last game we just saw how much an Azir Tristana can do in late game teamfights if you don't get onto them, and KOO Tigers don't have a lot of ways of reaching them.
Yeah, when Smeb engages, he will need Gorilla to black shield him, because there's Buster Shot available to knock him back. There's a Zero ultimate available to say, like, you shall not pass here, and then throw him back. And if he doesn't connect to 2 or 3 members immediately with that ultimate, press the new, like, change W to get that AoE damage out, then the KOO Tigers are going to have an incredibly hard time winning teamfights.
Well, we'll see if they can win those teamfights then if the outplays can happen here for the Korean squad. But remember, you guys at home are always part of this one. Tweet hashtag KOO win or hashtag CLG win, and we'll see which team you think has the edge here in Group A. It is a battle for first place. Counter Logic Gaming right now sitting at 2-0. That could be 3 in a row, just like their North American brethren Cloud9. But KOO Tigers can come back from their one loss, make it 2-1, and tie for first for sure at the end of the day. And here we go.
Teams loading up on the Rift here. Let's see what their plans are. CLG, Blitzcrank, notorious for some early action and aggressive ping. Look at that, they pinged the banana burst and they're all 5 moving there. There could be aggressive play here.
They've got a Blitzcrank.
Yeah, Blitzcrank's always in a level 1. If he gets to engage, hook a target, he's fantastic. If he gets engaged on, he's completely useless. He just stands there, does nothing. But it goes for a lot of supports when it comes to level 1. So CLG are confident enough, and we can see the early wards spotting them from the KOO Tigers, knowing, okay, let's get out of here.
Smeb actually snuck up in the top lane, so CLG will expect wards in their own jungle, especially the right side of the map. They will not expect a ward to be placed on Crux there, so that could actually reveal some information that CLG isn't willing to give away.
I really do worry, though, for KOO Tigers if this Kennen flex pick ends up hurting them more than it benefited, because by getting the Morgana pick, yes, you want to try and shut down the Blitzcrank, but you're basically trading support for support, and now you get a top laner who might struggle to reach the backline of CLG, which is the whole purpose of what KOO Tigers were building at first, ways to engage and stop the fast push from happening, and I don't feel like Kennen is the answer for that, but that's, of course, before we see what Smeb can do. Good flanks can save the day for him.
Yeah, it's no Malphite. I mean, to be fair, Malphite could get counterpicked by Vladimir, and that would suck really hard. Zion is a good Vladimir player, but I think Kennen is actually pretty good secondary engage following up an arrow.
Look what CLG doing right now. They were going to the top lane, but because Prey and Gorilla expected wards to be placed in standard lane swap position, they went mid and then delayed path to top lane. CLG actually spotted them on a ward that was fading in the mid, and they actually went back to the bot lane here. So not only are they going to get the favorable lane swap that they want, avoid the double range double poke, they will also pick up Grump on the way. So double lift, the carry for CLG this tournament so far, set in prime carry position already.
And they're not even going to get punished in the jungle either. Smithy and Zion Spartan started on the greedy side of the map in the top lane, away from their dual lane. Still got it. Of course, KOO get to do the same thing here, so it should be a standard trade of jungles.
Yeah, and that ward was 3 seconds from fading so close. After he gets level 2, he can start roaming.
Yeah, Winston, of course, skill of his E, so we can start seeing the power of a Blitzcrank in a lane swap. Also for the KOO Tigers, they didn't make it in time to topside to freeze the wave. So Zion Spartan is reading this and already on the top side, being joined by Afremu. So that's going to be fairly strong 2v2, and KOO Tigers need to send 4 members to stop it. But they're on the wrong side of the map at the moment.
Yeah, remember though, Blitzcrank did get changed, so the speed up will actually work against you. Later parts of it, you will get slowed down tremendously. That's where you don't really see W picked up much at all anymore on that Blitzcrank. It's actually kind of ruined the champion in a sense. It makes it very much so harder to play.
Well, looks like you wanted to play it anyway. And of course, you talked about being on the wrong side of the map. CLG, of course, aware of the jungle start, though similar for KOO Tigers. The secondary pathing for the junglers should be understood, and these guys will know where they're going to expect some teammates soon.
Yeah, KOO Tigers taking the long way up towards the top side, playing every single camp between Smeb and Hojin. The reason Smeb doesn't teleport to the bottom lane, it looks like he gets a one-on-one lane, is because Elise hasn't shown herself on the map, so he doesn't know if she's hiding around and can just 2v1 dive her instantly. One of the things Elise brings to the table.
KOO know that Xmithy is not here because there's a global hogshot available for Prey. He used it. They're working with perfect information here. This is a 4v2. That's why CLG is backing off.
Now look at the trade and resources, though. There's still 2 people down to the bot lane. The Tristana can push. Zion got a bit of experience, already level 2.5.
And this is exactly what we saw C9 do in the last game. You sacrifice your own top laner, just put him together with the support, and they can sit and try and get in range from. And they also force a jungle camp for themselves.
Can't black shield that.
Another thing they force is they force KOO Tigers to have multiple members on top side to deny them farm. So Doublelift gets his solo experience, he gets enough damage with Tristana on these towers early on with his E that it benefits him a lot.
Also, Smeb needs level 3 to skill E. Then he could potentially teleport down bot lane because he gets extra resistances and mobility from that. But otherwise, if he without the E, he would instantly get dove here. Doublelift taking out a tower right now. So it's too late for Smeb to counter teleport, something we usually see. Maybe go for the outplay on a 2v1, but he didn't really have the audacity to make that play. So KOO Tigers sharing a lot of experience right now.
And KOO Tigers are doing the standard Western lane swap we've seen.
All's well.
Gets a flash.
Flash for flash.
But KOO Tigers are like, hey guys, we learned the standard Western lane swap, we can fast push in, and CLG is saying, well, we're going to take it to the next level. We don't care about you getting that top tower. We don't care about our top lane falling a bit behind because we value our AD carry higher, and we saw how far ahead Sneaky got in the last game.
And this is what I love about World Championships. You see these kinds of things evolve. This is the second time now C9 did it, CLG did it. Your AD carry hard pushes. You expect no one to show up with his turret anymore, and they get that pressure regardless. Turret goes out a little bit slower. Tristana gets the first recall. She's first back in lane.
There's so much beauty to that play from Aftermoon too. Just tiny bit of an aggressive flash there, forcing another summoner, buying some more time. And meanwhile, bot lane tower goes down first. Wave gets bounced. Zion's part now gets the wave frozen to him, so he'll have an easy time picking up farm. Because Doublelift has so much experience in farm already, he should be fine in the top lane, especially if you look, he has the backup of some wards at his jungle, so he should be in prime position to push out of here.
I think that's a very key thing for CLG, that they don't send Doublelift back to the bottom lane and take the standard 2v2 and get dragon control, because they're here to fast push you out of turrets. They don't care about the dragon at the moment, so it's better to get a massive wave towards Zion Spartan and then keep Doublelift pushing on top side, because he's also a lot safer. If someone was up there to gank him, he has to jump. Of course, he also had some back off potentially from Aframu. He's now left that top side completely. KOO Tigers, they want to try and stop the bleeding, don't want to lose anyone out of turrets.
I have to see the value of these global hawk shots. Very underused on a lot of Ash picks, but you can get so much information. Now they know that Doublelift would be alone in the top lane. Aframu fakes out the retreat, so mind games going on here on both sides.
And you can see Hojin kind of set up there to fight Zion Spartan. Smeb can't quite land the part of the E, but still lands the stun thanks to the W and the auto attack.
Smithy's coming, though. Blitzcrank in the river, too.
Zion's already popped. Ghost, remember, there's no flash on Hojin. Cocoon's going to land for sure, but Zion doesn't seem to want a part of this one. They're waiting still for the Blitz to show up, and no, the axe doesn't land. Zion took too long to be part of that fight.
Coordination, not 100% there for CLG, but the call is the correct one. You could 3v2 them, you land 160, you could have hooked them in with the Blitzcrank. Just not really coordinated properly.
Yeah, they also let the wave crash into the tower, so now it'll bounce back. They could have set up a mini freeze right there and actually use their numbers advantage to deny CS, but now bot lane will just shove backwards. Zion Spartan pushing that out. Doublelift though, had to back off a bit from top lane because he's not farming anymore.
He's just hiding. He put a trinket ward down. He's afraid. He'd even pink warded his tri-brush. That got cleared away not long ago, and Prey up 12 CS so far. Okay, he's got a bit of a bigger wave, but Doublelift getting behind a little bit here.
Gorilla snuck into the lane here on the bottom side. They
No
know he's not coming. They're going for Zion.
Easy knock-up, easy chase down, easy kill. KOO Tigers, first blood for Smeb.
You can see how KOO Tigers right now, they don't value really the jungle. They send all their members to the lanes. They knew what CLG were doing at first. Once they see it's just a solo AD carry on top side, having 3 members here gave an easy kill on the Zion Spartan.
And this is how far mistakes can carry on. Because CLG went for that not coordinated play there in the bottom, they lost the freeze. Olaf would start pushing out. Now you have to actually get close to the brush to even get into experience range. Meanwhile, in the top lane, wave manipulation for KOO Tigers means CLG can never keep a wave because Tristana with E will always auto shove, so they can comfortably keep sending their members to the bottom side of the map. Because Doublelift was actually so scared, he required Afromoot to go to the top lane right when Zion Spartan needed him the most. So CLG not putting the right people in the right place. KOO Tiger's doing that.
And it's so hard for CLG there to make the right call after the mistake at first, because either you call down your jungler and support to be with the Olaf on the bottom side, but you don't know if two guys are hiding there, if it's just a complete waste. And then suddenly Doublelift gets zoned away from this wave that was already pushing towards the KOO Tiger. So there was simply no easy call to make for CLG because they didn't have the proper information. They will be able to push down this tower and do a lot of damage to it. Blitzcrank offers quite a lot of zone threat here.
But Afro has no flash and no easy way to get away, so he's always got to be a little bit careful around what kind of ganks might come through. KOO already has his first augment, so wave clear is easy for the Victor. You can see he can leave well before Pobelter can. KOO known for this Victor, though, easily his best champion. We'll see if he can make more of an impact later on in the game.
One of the players who introduced it to the professional scene really over in the LCK. Very early on in the spring split he started playing it. And then quickly people realized how insanely strong Victor is, and he's been played all year long.
Oh, look at that ward. If KOO takes a bad pass back to the mid lane, he may actually get sniped by Blitzcrank here because he's moved all the way out to do that blue buff. CLG's 5 men in the mid lane. They may just siege down this turret.
Wow, quick move. Arrow sent across the map to go for this one. This is going to be a bit of a fight because here comes the TP from Kennen. Smithy is done. The teleport will complete a Poland and the knockback from Alistair, but oh no, Pobelter caught up in all of it. KOO gets his first kill of the game, and now the chase on Afro. The under speed is going to happen soon, but he's out.
KOO Tigers claim a kill 4v5, and Arrow is split pushing in, or Prey rather is split pushing in the top lane, still taking out a turret. That was risky play from CLG, and they got punished.
Well, still, they were timing with the blue buff to group there. Obviously, Smithy takes the arrow, but then I think they could have disengaged, but we saw a missed ulti from Pobelter, and also Afro pulled in Smeb into his team, so he popped the ulti, and CLG again just almost helping out KOO Tigers a little bit when these fights start. I still think the call for them were fine because they were timing it with that blue buff, so it's a very good fast push on the top. It's what we see again, push one lane, move down Tristana to mid, whereas he has already shoved it in.
KOO Tigers in the sizable lead right now, 800 gold up. Hojin, oops.
Dragon knocked him out of his tunnel.
Ouch. Oh, he's going to be okay, though. All well and good. Blue buff.
Smiling.
Goes to Pobelter. Yeah, a couple of seconds lost, but...
That's when you just go, yeah, I did that. Oops.
Unlucky. Oh, the binding across the wall. Pobelter actually losing a lot of health. He's going to get stunned up. This could be really bad. Oh, the flash knockup by Hojin. That was amazing. And a flash by Afro for the hooks. Not going to mean much just yet. Gorilla had aggro. Now KOO does a bind and ignite, but it's not enough damage. The shield's going to be fine. Smithy can't find anything to do. Hit by the chaos. A stun again. Oh, Hojin. Korean sniper here.
That's two sick moves from Hojin. First, he cancels the dash from Pobelter mid-air, and then he snipes somebody else. He's playing out of his mind this game.
He learned from the Dragon, interrupted him from tunneling over, and then he stopped now the dash from Pobelter at the same time. Beautiful setup, and KOO Tigers right now, they're finding the right kills onto CLG, and they keep punishing them. And CLG has had their chances, really, to get some kills back, but they're not been able to execute.
Yeah, and I want to call back to Champion Select a little bit, because you guys talked in the previous game about Cloud9 and also here about CLG, about, you know, they have this one style. The AD carry knocks the turret down, they go to the mid lane. Victor is, in my opinion, actually the literal best mid laner for wave clear. One-shots the cast with a basic ability, can put up a stunning field as well. I mean, just it's so impossible to push against Victor, and they know KOO plays as champion.
Gorilla, beautiful binary. This is what sets it up, and just keep tracking Hojin right now.
Barely, just barely.
Afro coming in at first.
I think he wanted to block like a Rex IQ or something, or someone in the turret.
And then obviously he gets KOO pulled in, but he's full HP and ends up being able to stay alive. And he's obviously trying to make that big play to make up for. But going down, but not been able to pull it off.
Yeah, definitely agree with that wave clip point. It's so easy for Victor to just cast laser and still stay out of engage range. Same way Anivia can put down an ulti, walk away, but it's easier and cheaper here. Another arrow connecting Afro. Can they follow up?
Binding's gonna hit. How much more damage is there? Prey gets a couple attacks through to volley. And ulti for the health bar with support. Pobelter, they're getting pushed around. That's doing a lot of damage to him. KOO's starting to win this matchup here, up 6 CS already and has wave advantage.
Yeah, obviously Pobelter been dying twice now, so he's fall behind the lane. It's going to be shoved in by KOO Tigers, and that's so key for them to stop that push from happening again.
Oh, well
going in!
Ults him in. KOO does not have aggro, though, so Poblater losing more and more and more health. The laser lands. Zion now on the chase. Should be enough, but KOO dodges. The ghost is enough to get away from Olaf, and 5 kills to 0 is the start to this game.
Both these mid laners have been sidestepping beautifully, though. It sidesteps the laser and the ultimate, goes in, knocks him in the tower, but as you said, no tower aggro, and then later on Zion Spartan trying to catch, but good dodges there from KOO on the axis. CLG, it's so frustrating the way this game has been playing out for them, because it's not easy. Mid tower's on 20% left, you know, just a couple hits, then they make this sick play in the mid lane, but KOO doesn't die, so I can definitely understand if CLG is getting a little frustrated right now.
And CLG just won that a fairly slow, honestly, early game where they could push out the waves, move Doublelift to the mid lanes, to push down some towers. You don't even have to fight. Blitzcrank is there to offer a threat of someone being pulled in and dying, but the KOO Tigers have been constantly been able to find the fights against CLG. This is KOO just going super aggressive because he has backup from Hojin coming on the top side here. And in the end, while he does get knocked back into the tower, he's so far out when he deals the damage at first, the tower doesn't really care. He's not going to aggro. And that's another kill then for the KOO Tigers. So they keep finding these engages onto them. And that means CLG never gets a chance to group up and start sieging down.
Gorilla's doing so much work this match, though. He's completely outclassing Afremu in this particular instance because he's setting up so many kills, whether it's bindings, black shields, being in the right place. Afremu seems to be trailing on the play, just 10 seconds behind. Every time he shows up, somebody's already dead, caught, or needed his help earlier.
That's a worrying situation now for Counter Logic Gaming. 3,000 gold down, KOO Tigers in control. Dragon actually still not an emphasis for either team so far. One of the later Dragon takes we've seen of this tournament.
I like this build as well for KOO. It has been a standard for a while, but then we see a lot of people now start building Morel Nomicon on Victor. I like the cooldown reduction boots. Just start rushing towards your late game items a bit faster and keep that insane wave play going. Tower is still very low from before where CLG were pushing in, ends up dying. Gets that one for themselves. The Dragon, of course, nobody really cares about you. Good old Dragon, but now CLG is moving down towards it.
Objectives are more of a means of an end to CLG. If they can deny the vision, then bait, and get a Blitzcrank hook off, they can actually turn these fights around, especially with the zone control they have with at least KOO and Poblater and stuff. But they definitely have a lot of options. Not if they get found, though.
Oh! Use it now, the arrow hits Smithy, the knockup for Hojin, ultis popped around, but look at all the damage coming through, already a kill for Smeb. The chain slow from Prey as well. Counter Logic Gaming, forced to run, one more hit, he'll do it, hook comes in, Prey does have aggro, but there's no follow-up, and now more flashes burn. Smeb wants in, looks for Doublelift, can't quite kill him, but Zion Spartan's gonna be enough for them. 9-0 KOO Tigers!
And we highlighted how important it is for Kennen to be able to flank in order to get to that back line. Great TP from Smeb. Arrow once again from Prey. That guy's been hitting every single one. He did the same in the playoffs. He's such a big reason the KOO Tigers can start these fights as well. And they're just running over CLG right now.
Just overall amazing skill shot accuracy coming out of KOO Tigers. KOO landing almost every laser for Poke, Prey, and Gorilla. I don't think they've missed a single important arrow or bind altogether so far, and Black Shields have dodged many cocoons. Let's watch that fight again.
So we have Kennen sitting in the top lane, TPing in. This is a beautiful flank for him and exactly what he needs. Xmithy eats the arrow, so he's completely out of the fight, and so is Poblater because he walks straight into Smeb. And this was CLG moving down to Dragon first. They even started it. They were like, should we go for it? We don't really know. We don't have too much control around it. And KOO Tigers instantly capitalized because they had the wards behind CLG for Smeb to TP on.
Yeah, wonderful TP right there. At least CLG is able to be tenacious enough to knock down this Dragon on the respawns and after the recalls, but it's getting bad quick for Counter Logic Gaming here. One of the last remaining undefeated teams here at the World Championship, looking at their first loss at the hands of KOO Tigers. The upsets continue at this point.
Their composition has a lot of safe carries later on in the game, but they're all single target right now. Doublelift can only take one target down at once. Poblater and Azir can only take one target down at once, whereas if you look at the KOO Tigers, so much AoE damage on that lineup already. Even their support can just aid in that with the ultimate. So much hard CC and AoE damage, and if you fall behind against a composition like that, you will get snowballed upon.
That's the thing. The problems that were highlighted for KOO Tigers potentially with their comp of reaching Azir, reaching Tristana. Doesn't matter when they get this far ahead and they suddenly control the entire map. So there is a million ways for Smeb to find the flank whenever he has TP ready. Or just for KOO Tigers to catch out targets when they start getting ahead with the amount of single target CC to start it. Because Prey is on fire and we don't get to that point where Doublelift will have his QSS coming in really to stop the engage onto these guys. Smithy twice in a row has been the unlucky guy who got the arrow in the face. He ends up dying for it.
Yeah, spin on Merc Treads on him, unfortunately. And also keep in mind, this is not a very tanky Elise. He's gone for Rune Glaive on the champion as well. Just makes the targets even easier. CLG playing a much more individualistic style. Trying to find ways to get themselves through on this one. Right, Zion Spartan for the split push power, less for the team fight. I don't see CLG ever winning a 5-on-5 with these kinds of lineups. Maybe Elise's damage means something, but it's all just going poorly. A 7,000 gold lead for KOO Tigers. Their style's working beautifully.
Yeah, your whole composition will build around getting down early out of turrets and not necessarily getting any kills. And then you build up that big goal lead from it, and it becomes so difficult for KOO Tigers to get the control back on the map.
Well, they're certainly not getting any kills, so that part you've got right, Deficio. That's according to plan for Counterlogic Gaming here.
And Poe Builder didn't die a single time the last 2 games.
Now he's got 4.
4 under his belt.
Gotta wait though. Need more items. CLG, they need time right now to hopefully even out that game with some big item spikes. In the poorly positioned team fight from KOO Tigers where a flank goes wrong, the Zero ultimate can maybe shut the door on Cannon, but since we're waiting so long on the next fight, every single member of the KOO Tigers will have Flash, and that is an answer to a lot of CLG's answers, and then not much is left for them.
We have to remember, when a Blitzcrank is in the game, that surprise comeback, the option is always there. If he pulls in like KOO, they instantly one-shot him, and a large part of KOO Tiger's damage is then down. He's 4-0 and 2 at the moment. But as long as Gorilla is on point, and as long as KOO Tiger keeps up the vision control, it should be nearly impossible for Afremo to get that insane surprise hook that really takes down the KOO Tigers.
Also, Smeb, he can also just position aggressively and look to tank every single hook, because if there's anything Cannon likes, is to be pulled into the enemy team. So
yeah,
he immediately pop E, and then with the Zonias, there's no way they're burning him down in time before he actually can do so much damage, and then KOO can step in anyway. So again, for every question CLG has, KOO has an answer so far, and makes it a lot easier playing with this large of a gold lead too. The vision has always been solid from the KOO Tigers. Yeah. Mostly they just use it to come back into the game, because their mid game, usually they're trailing behind a little bit, and then come late game, their shot calling brings them back. But right now, with this much of a gold lead, should be easy cruising for them.
Well, finally, turret does get traded back. Counterlogic Gaming get their third. Double Lift is the split push farmer. That's normal. But guess what? KOO Tigers already with 5 members at bottom lane tier 2. CLG has no hope of defending this one. So add turret number 5 to the game here.
They're going to try and trade tier 2 for tier 2 and then see if they can defend their base 4v5. But
here comes Hojin.
Hojin goes back.
Yeah, Double has to run. He realizes he hears the Rek'Sai alarm. And even a teleport from Smeb.
Smeb could have TP'd way higher there, though.
Come with the home guards around,
still home guarding, yeah. Double Lift's gonna ult for that one. That means Smeb has no chance of being stopped. The flank works. Easy kill for the KOO Tigers.
Suddenly this compensation for KOO Tigers really looks so solid to stop what CLG were building.
I love how Hojin even turned around at the end. He stopped chasing. He was like, okay, Peng, you got me. Got me, B-boy. And then Turbo Smeb comes in around the corner, finishes him off immediately. Aggressive Flash 2 did not want to get Buster Shot backwards there.
Oh,
he burned it on the Rek'Sai. That was the thing.
Yeah. Said, take it for the team.
Double Lift didn't see it coming, and it all went according to plan here for the KOO Tigers. This time, though, Smeb is without any summoner spells, and Afro is here.
No E on him either.
Will land an easy knock for the minions. Gonna help him do some damage. They'll shut down the first kill of the game for Counterlogic Gaming. They got much more to go.
Smart little thing from CLG and Afro here. He used his sweeper in the bush to disable the ward. So Smeb had a little less time to react once they came in. Also, the team couldn't turn around and maybe go up and help him. Hojin was still nearby, but just a smart play from CLG and gives him the first kill.
Greedy play from Smeb though, using your one and only gap closer to clear out the wave. That's very
wave.
One more wave. Just do it. One more wave.
One more wave.
I got a big item, guys. Just need that one more wave every time.
This is such a long uphill battle though for Counterlogic Gaming. One kill buys some time. No Smeb for a while. No TP. Those are things that'll give CLG some breathing room, but with an 8,000 gold deficit, it's going to require a minor miracle for Counterlogic Gaming to keep a 0 in that defeat column.
With Blitzcrank on red side though, it is easier to defend the Baron because you can always pull somebody out of the pit. If you're on blue side, it becomes harder to contest that because they can actually just hide behind the Baron in the pit. They're so much harder to even get into the area with face checking. So that is their saving grace. Just keep the pink wards up in your own jungle and deny KOO only when they step in beyond that point.
And we'll see how well KOO can keep this game under wraps. They've already knocked down 5 turrets, 22 minutes in. Keep in mind, gold leads this big don't normally happen this early on, so you got to give KOO a little bit of breathing room here as they look to pick their next advantage. Their first dragon looks like it's on the plate right now. no contest.
Who don't really want to go for that Baron at all. It's just an illusion because Prey is split pushing down in the bot lane, takes Grump. This is something you don't see very often at this point in the game.
Split pushing Ashe, no, not a standard strategy, but when you have 10 kills to 1 and you're 22 minutes in, you get to, you know, play some different kind of styles. And a lot of them will end up working because KOO Tigers have a lot of answers to what CLG is trying to do, as long as they keep the wave play in mid and they do not get pulled in by Afro move. That is the way back for CLG, basically.
Good dodge by Welter.
All right, 2 arrows in a row missed. Prey finally losing some of that accuracy, but of course it's still been such a major factor in this game.
We're still going to see it though for KOO Tigers, where whenever they do miss the arrow from Prey, they might just step back and say, okay, we got to bait around objective now, because we need CLG to come to us. Seeing as we don't get the engage going, there's no TP from Smeb, so his flanking options are down. So they might just look chill a little bit, or catch that more like
goodbye.
that.
Bind from a ward and a pink brush, a pink ward and a brush. Oh, the gate! Can't talk right now, but the fight happened.
They're killing them, Freak.
They're so low on health. Zion gets 1 kill, chased back by KOO, and you're still seeing this fight go better for the KOO Tigers. A nice Zonius by Smeb buys some time. Smithy forced to run and flash away. The chase still on. Hawkshot reveals where they are. 13-2 though, still a better fight for KOO Tigers.
Yeah, very chaotic start to that fight, confusing even the best of us. Overall, there, but in the end, what matters is that KOO Tigers only sacrifice their support and take down 3 CLG members. The only carry left here is Doublelift, but their wave clear is down, so they should be able to really take this map in control here. Get some of those pink wards down in the jungle, maybe. Prey can steal the red buff. It's getting rough right here.
KOO Tigers couldn't have asked for much more. They just missed their own engage. Didn't have TP with Smeb, and then CLG moved forward, got binded, or Afro got binded, and suddenly the fight was on. Perfect for KOO Tigers. They didn't have to wait 2 more minutes, or 1 more minute for the arrow to be ready again. Helps them speed up the game a little bit because they are so strong right now. They want to fight.
Oh, flash knockup though. Prey is going to burn his own flash, but Afro should have an easy time. Hook comes in. That should be a kill, but the arrow comes in, and they turn it around. Prey refuses to die. Oh, dear Lord. KOO Tigers are so far ahead. The swag comes up, and you deserve that one.
Yeah, that Control 6 is just adding insult to injury. So close for Prey to get down, but he managed to kite out. And I just want to go back to earlier that play. Wait, another bind here from Gorilla. This time, no backup. CLG, they were doing fine as long as they were respecting the boundaries of the river. They kept pushing the waves out, placing the vision out, but never getting close to the river. But then they got antsy. Afro overstepped his boundaries once and got immediately punished there by Gorilla. His bindings overall, combined with just a fantastic build, by the way, I have to point this out. Decrush Morgana, finally we see it. I think this the-optimal Morgana support build. I'm very happy to see it, especially when your AD carry is leading the charge as well. Just Prey can single-handedly start carrying these fights 1v5 now.
And when your AD carry benefits so much from crits, with the extra damage coming in, with the passive for Prey, and the fact you get so many early towers as well as a support, suddenly you feel like you have a lot of gold, you feel like a carry almost, and then you look at the rest of your team with something like 2 or 3 items, and you realize
everything is relative.
Everyone's carrying, but keep in mind there's still more happening. KOO forced the escape from Counter Logic Gaming, but Smeb has teleport. He pops it in, he home guards in. Does plenty of damage to kill off one. Walter will try to trade one back. The flash to keep oh my God, Smeb! Oh, this is just brutal for Counter Logic Gaming. 18-2 in kills. It's getting worse and worse. It's an 11,000 gold lead.
This is what Tilt is made of.
Everything's gone wrong for CLG ever since basically the start of the game, where they had some of these openings to try and get a few kills, but they couldn't capitalize on them, couldn't really execute, and KOO Tigers turned it around and just made it even worse for them. They've been playing such a solid game.
CLG, they yield the Baron, try and counter map, cross map them, get a red buff for a Baron. Not the best trade. And these hawk shots overall from Prey have been working out pretty well. Helped a lot in the early game to localize Smithy. CLG did have a good lane stop start, but eventually Tigers, they prevailed. Let's watch that again. In the bottom left of your screen, Afro move will get popped. Welter stops Smeb here, but you just take down double. Look at the damage.
Destroys him. Oh, the Q barely snuck it just over Welter's shoulder.
And stays
And that
alive.
flash to dodge the Q, I think only an auto attack came through from Welter.
But CLG obviously know everything KOO Tigers can do against them. But you still have to go for these over-aggressive plays to just try and get back into the game. If you just sit back and wait right now, KOO Tigers are taking the rest of the map. And because they are so far ahead, still fairly early on, 27 minutes only, CLG has to just try and all-in play, basically.
Well, CLG are all inning their own jungle a little bit and then realize they have to run away and say, just kidding, you guys own that. KOO Tigers, please enjoy our trees and all the foliage. 1 minute on the next dragon. I don't know if it's going to even take that long to win this game, though. Hojin takes Cocoon. All as well. Mid lane under fire. Baron buff still on the team.
This flex, though, this cannon pick, early picked in flex, expected on support, then switched out for Morgana support, has been working out. The value of Morgana support in this tournament so far has been pretty high. She has had a pretty big impact for support on a lot of these matches.
We've seen a lot of team compositions with like single target engage, basically, making this Morgana support so strong with the Black Shield. This one again, we talked about earlier in the game, how it was picked to basically counter this Afro. It meant the Kennen had to go top. There were some questions regarding it. At least I had some questions regarding it. But because KOO Tigers got so far ahead, it opened up for Smeb to always be able to find ways to engage. The rest of the comp of KOO Tigers is super solid. Engage from your AD carry and wave clear from your mid laner against what CLG has been built. They're going in.
Hard engage comes in and already Pole Belter is dead. Here comes the rest of it. Gorilla taking plenty of damage. They will get one back for CLG, but it's already 3 kills for the KOO Tigers. Kuro into the back line, lands a bunch of the damage. Oh, a nice hook from Afro move, but Kuro doesn't seem to even care. They're all falling down. Oh, the fountain laser doing a little bit too much. Yeah, an ironic control 6 there, but it's not going to be enough. 2 kills for 4. Into the base they go. It's going to be a 29-minute win for KOO Tigers, unless there's some kind of minor miracle from Xmithy. That's not going to happen. There's the stun. Chilling Smite takes the kill. The 3rd of the game for Hojin. More swag spam from Kuro. He knows he's won this game. His only death this one on an amazing victor battle. Pobelter shows up for a little bit more, but it's not going to be enough. KOO Tigers in first place now, tying Counter Logic Gaming over in Group A.
And a game really won in the early game where KOO Tigers could execute on every single play, get so many early kills on CLG, and their composition once ahead really stood out. You had enough wave clear to stop the push, you had engage from Ash, you had flank potential from a cannon. So many ways suddenly then to take full control of the map.
The thing is, it surprised me that CLG didn't play around Zion Spartan almost at all in the lane swap. When I saw the Olaf, I was like, Olaf will never survive this team fight with a Kennen ambient damage, Victor's ambient damage, Morgana's ambient damage. You can't do this kind of thing as Olaf, but he got no farm, never got in the isolated matchup, and Smeb just crushed him in team fights.
I think there's 2 distinct moments in this game that really put CLG far behind. The failed gank, when Olaf had the freeze in the bot lane where he could just farm up, become that monster we expected Zion Spartan to become. That broke the wave, broke the freeze. He walked back up and died later on. CLG had another answer to that by grouping 5 mid lane for that siege, but then fantastic arrow came in from Prey all across the map, and then the missed 0 ultimate on the cannon.
Yes, exactly. That was really the thing for CLG in the early game. There's some missed abilities, not being able to execute it. About the Olaf as well, with this early game, it's what we see from these North American teams, both C9 and CLG, where you value that Tristana getting that solo lane so much, because again, your whole composition is take down first out of turret, swap top side, take that out of turret, go mid lane with Vasir, take that out of turret, and suddenly you have a 2,000 or 3,000 gold lead, and this backline will never die. You have so much damage, and you have that map control, so the Kennen can never TP in behind you. Once that falls apart, we see what happens. A team just simply starts rolling over the siege comp.
Also, the performance from Smeb on this cannon, very unconventional picker overall, just shows why he, together with maybe Sunday, were considered the best top laners at this tournament. A couple of these fancy outplays. Yes, it's easier when you're 5k ahead, of course, 10k ahead, but I was very impressed with the cannon. Most importantly, just localizing the flanks, buying the home guards in time to pick off double F right there. Just really, really good map reads, good movements overall, and KOO Tigers looking more like themselves in this game.
Yeah, and I gotta also hand an individual play award myself to Gorilla here, because highest kill participation on his team. His binds were absolutely on point all pretty much game long.
Game.
And especially contrasted to what Afro was doing here. There was a specific point when the lane swap kind of ended, 8 minutes in, the first turret goes down, and Double F is left alone top lane, which you can't do because there's actually 2 guys up there, and like kind of is near bot lane, yet Zion Spartan still dies to the actual dive that went through from the other members. So Afro was doing nothing in the early game, especially contrasted to what Gorilla was getting done with his binds.
Yeah, when you take a Blitzcrank, I mean, you have to be able to pull off some plays in the early to make game. Otherwise, your value in these big team fights just goes down, 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 down compared to Morgana with Black Shield, with bindings and everything. So Afro didn't manage to use this pick. Obviously, also, we can say they did counter it with the Morgana, at least once we got to these situations where they were grouped against each other.
Well, that's the funny thing, though, is we've seen now twice a team will open themselves up to an obvious counter pick. There was the full AD team from LGD, especially with Varus mid. Surprise, Malphite in the top lane. Your entire comp sucks. The Blitzcrank second round red side, and it's like, well, guess what? Morgana, Cannon's a flex pick. Here's Morgana. You're shut down from a lot of what you would like to do. Can't do the lane matchup and outplay the lane swap as well.
More importantly, this game showed what the opportunity cost is of failed aggressive moves. CLG could have stayed passive and played toward their strength, which is the mid to late game team fights with two hyper carries as if, but they went for aggressive ganks, and KOO Tigers punished that, not necessarily immediately, but later down the line, because wave manipulation was definitely way better for the KOO Tigers, and eventually they put CLG in quite a few lose-lose situations where either KOO Tigers gained a little bit or KOO Tigers gained a lot, and very often CLG trying to get back into the game made it so that KOO Tigers gained a lot. Remember that bind over to Aframu when they were playing around the river so much. That one bind just set up another kill, Baron control, and suddenly things started falling down again for CLG.
Yeah, so I mean, what can you say except for this was a very good game for KOO Tigers. The thing is, these guys aren't really known for their early game leads. It's more their macro sense of the game.
That's impressive.
Guerrilla being big, yeah.
When they do so well in the early game against CLG, who normally is very strong when it comes to these early lane swaps, KOO Tigers beat them where they're normally the weakest.
Yep, KOO Tigers overperforming CLG, I think falling on their faces a little bit here, but a great win by KOO overall. Right now we got Shock standing by for a word with KOO's support. Let's head down to the interview lounge.
Thank you very much, guys. Joined here by Guerrilla, indeed, after a fantastic matchup. KOO Tigers victorious over CLG. Congratulations. It was a very impressive victory, which we're not always used to. A very fast game from KOO straight from the beginning. What allowed you to snowball this game so hard?
고릴라 선수 우선 승리를 축하드립니다. KOO 타이거즈 팀은 이전에 이렇게 공격적으로 경기를 한 모습이 별로 안 보였었는데 이번 경기에 이렇게 빠르게 스노볼 굴린 비결이 혹시 무엇인지 말씀 부탁드립니다.
저희가 FW 경기를 지고 나서 저희의 색깔을 잃어버렸다고 생각을 해서 저희가 조금 생각을 많이 해봤는데 저희가 가장 알맞는 조합을 찾아서 준비를 했던 것 같고 그래서 이렇게 잘 된 것 같아요.
After we lost to Flash Wolves yesterday, we thought that we lost our team color. So we discussed a lot of strategies together and we found the right composition for us, which made us make this big game win victory.
No worries, it's been a long day. You mentioned that game versus the Flash Rules. We also remember what happened to the KOO Tigers in the middle of the season at IEM Katowice. What did you learn from that and that experience to make sure that you could bounce back once Worlds was here?
이제 어제 패배를 말씀하셨는데 KOO 타이거즈는 이전에 시즌 초기에도 IEM 카토비체에서 좀 이제 가슴 아픈 패배를 당했었는데 그런 패배를 이제 밑거름으로 혹시 이런 큰 대회에서 좀 어려움이 있을 때 어떻게 다시 그 실력을 회복할 수 있는지에 대해서 좀 배우셨는지 말씀 부탁드립니다.
저희가 사실 롤챔스에서는 좀 급하지가 않았는데 해외 대회만 되니까 저희가 되게 급해지더라고요, 팀이. 그래서 약간 좀 긴장을 한 것도 있고 그래서 저희가 급하게 하지 말자고 그렇게 얘기만 했던 것 같아요. 그래서 이렇게 좋은 승리를 한 것 같아요.
So at the Katowice tournament, like at LCK, we usually don't get in a hurry and we play the game very calmly. But at foreign tournaments, we got nervous and played the game in a very fast fashion. So when we got here, we said that let's keep our own pace and play it at a very slow tempo.
Well, this game was very fast, though a lot of eyes were looking at that bottom lane matchup. What did you make of the supports coming out? You only played Morgana twice in summer, and then you were up against the Blitzcrank, which must have been quite unexpected.
이번 경기의 서포트 매치업이 되게 흥미로운데요. 고릴라 선수는 이전에 모르가나로 2번밖에 활약 안 한 모습 보였었고 블리츠크랭크도 되게 좀 특이한 픽이 있는데 그 서포트 매치업에 대해서 간단히 말씀해 주세요.
사실 모르가나가 명백한 블리츠의 카운터거든요. 그래서 모르가나를 제가 원래 좀 좋아하긴 하는데 잘 나오는 상황이 없었는데 이번 시즌 5에서는 모르가나가 되게 좋은 픽인 것 같아요. 그래서 쓴 것 같아요.
So I thought that Morgana is a good pick since season 5. And I always like that champion in general. And Morgana is one of the big counters of Blitzcrank, so that's how I got to pick him.
And it worked out really well for you guys. Now you're at the top of your group. Now that you've seen all the matches that happened in these 4 days, who do you think could be your biggest opponents down the line if you look further down the tournament?
이제 오늘 경기를 함으로써 이제 되게 유리한 고지를 점하셨는데 이제 4일차에 접어들어오면서 다른 해외 팀들과 많은 팀들 경기를 봤을 때 어느 팀이 KOO 타이거즈 팀에 가장 좀 위협이 될 것 같은지 말씀해 주세요. 대회 다 통틀어서 모든 팀.
저희가 오늘 경기를 준비하면서 오리겐 게임을 봤는데 되게 잘하더라고요. 그래서 오리겐을 좀 많이 조심해야 될 것 같아요.
So we watched Origin.
I thought I heard that.
Origin, and we think they're a very strong team and they could be a very big threat to us.
Very interesting. Well, if anything, you had a fantastic win here. Congratulations, Gorilla. What a win for the KOO Tigers over CLG. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Shocks. And that was a landslide of a game there. A victory for KOO Tigers that they definitely needed. But going through all of the picks and bans here, we saw the Kennen come out and the Blitzcrank in response. Now, when it comes to Kennen on the KOO Tigers, Gorilla has played it 4 times this year. Smeb has played it only once, performed very well on it, and it was back in spring.
It's like, to me, I really like the Kennen pick. The flexibility, as you mentioned, but the response in shape of Blitzcrank. First of all, Blitzcrank is a very inconsistent, risky pick. And then the Blitzcrank, it kind of just hooks in the Kennen, so it kind of makes no sense to me.
I honestly think it's the worst thing in the world to pick the Blitzcrank into the Kennen. Regardless of whether or not you think it's support, you're just helping him out at that point.
I was disappointed with the draft from CLG. To me, it seemed like it...
Unfortunately, Crumbs, your mic has died, so we're probably only going to pick it up through Zyrene's mic. You guys
Talking
can...
to my
there
chest.
you go.
The draft from CLG was very disappointing.
It works together.
It lacked a lot of research. Because when you're running that siege composition like Cloud9 does, which is sieging with Azir and Tristana, you need a champion that doesn't need gold. Those are really late game scaling champions, but they pick the Olaf. Now Olaf is a champion that needs a lot of gold. When it does not work like that. You need to go all in with the siege. They didn't do that, and then the Olaf was played not very well. Thank you for the microphones.
You see that? That's teamwork, ladies and gentlemen.
So what he said, I'll translate for him a little bit. But no.
Yeah, that is synergy to its greatest. All right, but given all this, they do pick up the Blitzcrank, and it became very lopsided very fast, so I don't necessarily want to read into too much besides the fact that KOO excelled in an area of the game in which we don't normally attribute to them. The early game for them was rather fantastic, whereas we look at CLG and we say they should dominate the early game. KOO should take over in the late game.
Definitely. Like, I feel because it's a lane swap, it puts the game in a faster pace, and it also puts them in a scenario where it's kind of team play oriented, because that's where I think KOO Tigers shine. It was all about team play throughout this game. The composition, it was well synchronized with the Asher, with the engagers, and it was just beautiful to see.
Yeah, they were all really on the same page. The Asher was coming down from the top lane, hitting Smithy. They were able to jump onto Pobelter, and I thought that the way that they played this out, especially KOO in the mid lane, they were picking on Pobelter. They definitely made the Azir nerfs of the 10 movement speed show. KOO, he plays a really mean Victor. After that game, he's now 18-4, and he's the guy who really made Victor that staple pick of the mid lane into Azir. So they were picking that up, they were punishing it, and Freak talked about it on broadcast, that against this kind of Team America composition, we love Eagles, we love big guns, the Tristana, the Azir, the tower pushing. Against that comp, Victor is great, because they try to walk up at the turret and you just clear it out.
I want to build on your point about picking on Pobelter, and going into the tournament, we looked at the stats from CLG. They never help Pobelter. They throw him on Lulu, leave him to die, and in NA, nobody really punishes that. But KOO Tigers came out there swinging, put so much pressure on him, and we saw very delayed reactions from CLG to try to help him out. KOO Tigers was all over the place. He's ganking him left, right, and center, tower diving, and CLG was always late to the fight. A big trend that we know, and they exploited it perfectly.
A commanding win there by KOO Tigers to even it up in that group. There's still more Worlds action coming your way as Brazil's Pen Gaming takes to the Rift against the LMS's Flash Wolves in our next match. We'll take a look at what's on the line when our coverage continues.
It is a battle for first place. Counter Logic Gaming right now sitting at 2-0. Pobelter actually losing a lot of health. He's gonna get stunned up. This could be really bad. Oh, the flash knockup by Hojin. That was amazing. Nice. Oh. Use it now. The arrow hits Smithy. The knockup for Hojin. Ulti's popped around, but look at all the damage coming through. Already a kill for Smeb. There's plenty of damage to kill off one. Pobelter will try to trade one back. The flash to keep oh my God, Smeb! Gorilla taking plenty of damage. They will get one back for CLG, but it's already 3 kills for the KOO Tigers. KOO Tigers tying Counter Logic Gaming over in Group A.